Now you have heard some foundation of Venugit because you have been hearing from the beginning. You know what's the basis of Venugit. You know the introduction of Venugit. Now gradually we will proceed further with Venugit, where gopis are speaking among each other with each other about about they are they will they are expressing the sentiments of their heart. So the verse which we will discuss today, the meaning of this verse is, let's hear it. One gopi is speaking to another gopi. Oh my friend, this which great activities this Venu flute of Krishna has done, that it's always reciting on the lips of Krishna. Okay, now Maharaj will explain it now. The gopis are saying that one gopi is speaking to another gopi and they refer each other like a sakhi, re sakhi, like that. So this Venu is not Venu is not feminine. Venu flute is not female, it's male. The flute of Krishna. From the words of gopis, this can be understood, and they are saying that this there is a word which is used here, niras. Niras means which has no taste, no ras, no life. This flute is just a bamboo stick, and it has no taste. How does a bamboo stick have some taste? It's not possible. Must have seen sugarcane stick. Some people they like to chew sugarcane stick. We get this in India actually. They take the stick in their hand and they chew it. And what they get by chewing the sugarcane, they get some rus juice, and it's very tasty. It's very sweet. The sugarcane juice, but the bamboo stick also looks like a sugarcane stick. We will go to Haridwar for Bhagavad Katha. In that area, you will see lots of sugarcane. We will gift one sugarcane to everyone, all of you. You can eat lots of sugarcane there. So the bamboo stick also just looks just like sugarcane. But if we chew the bamboo stick, we will get no tasty juice. Nothing. It has no taste. Where there's no taste, that's called ni ras. Something which is untasty. This word is prominent here, neeras. We also use this word for a person, someone who is emotionless. We say he's neeras, she's neeras, means they have no emotions. So gopis are saying this venu, this flute, it's just like it's a bamboo stick. It has no taste. But what great actions, activities this has done, this bamboo stick flute. Not ordinary, great actions, great karmas, great austerities, that because of the result of those, the only Krishna's lips, which are only for gopis, nectar of Krishna's lips, actually, Adramrit, they are the wealth of gopis. They are the only wealth of gopis. Gopis are saying they are our wealth. We have the right on them. But this bamboo stick, see, it's so lucky, so fortunate that the thing which is of ours, on which we had our rights, it's always residing on them, always on Krishna's lips, this bamboo stick. And so much it's on Krishna's lips that it leaves nothing for us. All the rest of Krishna's lips, nectar, is taken by this bamboo stick. This bamboo stick takes all our rights. So Krishna's lips, adhar means lips, they are nectarian. Not just them, not just lips. His Krishna's speech, his words, the songs of which Krishna sing, even they are nectarian. They are also nectar. The remnants from Krishna's mouth, they are Mahaprasade Govinde Nam Brahmani Vaishnave. That Mahaprasad is also like full of nectar. So continuously we have been hearing about Krishna's lips are like nectarian. It means what? It means whatever comes from Krishna's mouth, his songs, his speech, that's all nectarian. We offered something to Thakurji. This that becomes prasad. Krishna himself had it. How does Krishna eats? With his hands. This is the mudra of the hand, how we eat. This is Vedic culture. In Vedic culture, we eat, by taking our fingers together like this. So these nerves, when they are joined, then these nerves uh, they activate the digestive system. So this in Vedic culture, the culture is to eat by hands, not by spoons. Krishna eats by his hands, and it becomes prasad, and on his jeep tongue, Krishna's tongue, the saliva that comes on that bhoga. And what do we get? We get Mahaprasad, that is nectarian. Whatever touches Krishna's lips, that becomes nectarian. What gopis said in Gopi Geet, Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam. Maharaj is singing this verse now actually. Puri Daljana. Okay, I have to find this verse. Which one is this? This is ninth verse from Gopi Geet. O Sham Sundar, Tav Kathamritam. Your Katha is like what? Nectarian. Krishna's Katha, something about Krishna is nectarian. And on top of that, his devotees who are speaking that Katha, their nectar as well combines with Krishna's Katha. And what do we get? How do we say? More double nectarian, more nectar. So whatever which touches Krishna's lips, that becomes nectarian. And how are Krishna's lips? Very sweet. From how that ashtakam starts, Adaram Maduram, Vadanam Madhuram, Hasitam Madhuram, Chalitam Madhuram. It starts from Adaram. Adhar means what? Lips. Who wrote this? Vallabhacharya. Our Acharya, one of our Acharya. He started from other lips. Such beautiful lips Krishna has. Very nice shape of Krishna's lips. Like, you have seen an arrow, it's like that, in the shape of arrow. And his lips, we have been hearing day before yesterday, we heard there's no makeup. It is natural. It has natural redness on Krishna's lips. Like bumblebee has redness, and someone who eats beetle nut, beetle nut, their lips become automatically red. So Krishna's lips are not painted, or they have no makeup. There's no alta on his feet. They are naturally red. Krishna's hands, his feet, his lips, they all are reddish. Tejwan. He has lots of Tej means grace. Adharam Madhuram, Vadanam Madhuram. Gopis are saying Krishna's nectar from his lips. It's for us. We have all the rights on this. It's for us actually. But look at this bamboo stick, this small piece of bamboo stick. Kash means stick, and it is needless. It's not like sugarcane. It has no taste. So what great activities or actions this bamboo stick has done that it's taken our wealth. It's taking our wealth away from us and not leaving anything for us. This is how gopis are expressing their sentiments by out of jealousy, transcendental jealousy. But so gopis have no jealousy, but it this is a bhav mood like jealousy. You are my friend and you became friends with someone else, so I will become envious of that person. You are my friend, how can you become friends with someone else? This is called enviousness. So gopis have no jealousy. There's no place of enviousness in transcendental world. But what they are expressing, those bhavs, those moods, they look like jealousy, but they are not. They are okay. So gopis are giving more importance to others' fortune, and they are disregarding their destiny, their fortune. That that person is so lucky that he is talking to you. And what about me? It's my unfortunate that I am. That person is lucky. That person is lucky who is talking to you, who's speaking to you. And you're not talking to me. So I am what? I'm unlucky, less fortunate. So I give this example to make you understand that gopis are they are they are glorifying others' fortune because they have relationship with Krishna. So they are okay. So by glorifying their fortune, how lucky they are also at the same time disregarding or saying that we are not fortunate. This is because of love. If they had no love, then they wouldn't speak like this. What is our necessity? Krishna is just a boy from our village. We are the gopis of Gokul, and Krishna is also a boy of Gokul, like other boys. But why only Krishna? They speak like this only for Krishna, not for other boys of Gokul. They only speak like this for Krishna because it's about love. They love Krishna, they have praying for Krishna. So, from many days, I have been telling you, and we will hear it further towards Yamuna ji, towards the deers, every towards every object, they are glorifying them, but they are not glorifying themselves. This is the symptom of love. So they started from Venu, flute. Oh, this flute is so lucky, so fortunate. And one more point, uh, all these associates of Radha Krishna and Golok Vrindavan, all these associates, they all came with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is Mahaprabhu? Antar Krishna Bahir Gora. Learn this Learn this verse is from Jiva Goswami. Antar Krishna Bahir Gora. Inside Krishna, outside Gora means Radhaji. I was speaking this in Harikatha yesterday. In that Mahaprabhu and Radharaman's Swarup are compatible. Gaur Mahaprabhu and Radharaman. What's the difference? Both look one. Radharaman is alone, he's alone, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also alone. but they are not alone. They are together. They are two. Two became one. When Radha Krishna, it's their complete combination. Radha Angalitam Vigraham. When Radha Rani embraces Krishna completely, and that Krishna, when Radha Rani takes in her heart, when Krishna enters the heart of Radha Rani, that becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, God's Swarup. When Krishna enters the heart of Radha Rani, what is the mood of Radha Rani? Oh Krishna, hey Krishna, you should imitate my imitation my moods, and you will roll on the ground. You will cry, you will laugh, like how I cry, like how I laugh, like how I go mad for you, Krishna. You have taken my mood, you have taken my prem, love. Now you see what will happen to you, Krishna. Pyare, you will not be able to tolerate. Hey Sham Sundar, oh my, you will not be able to tolerate which I can tolerate, which I have been tolerating. Now, why why Sham Sundar cannot tolerate and why Radharani can tolerate? Because whose love is great among these two? Radharani's love is superior. Only Radharani can tolerate that love. Krishna cannot. But Krishna doesn't want to leave. He says, I will also tolerate. I also want to taste this mood of yours. Okay, then go ahead. No, I can't do like this. I can't do like this. I have to become Radha first. So Radharani, I fold my hands and I pray to you, I request to you. And Krishna there, he did beg, borrow, steal. He begged also, he borrowed also, and he stole also. Radharani, give me your moods and your splendor, bodily complexion. Only for 48 years, not more than that. Just give them to me. I am borrowing them from you. Then I will give them back to you. And he stole as well. He entered the heart of Radharani. That love which was hidden there, he took it. Beg, borrow, steal. He begged as well. You you take your pitambar. Krishna takes his pitambar and he goes to Radharani. You give me your mood and complexion. I want to see the love which you relish. What is that love? Being Krishna, I don't know. I'm Krishna, but I don't know what do you relish in me. So I want to become you, Radharani. I want to become Radha. I want to become Radha. Radharani doesn't want to become Krishna. Krishna wants to become Radharani. This is the superiority of Radharani. So he begged, and Radharani is merciful. Okay, you take it, go. She doesn't send anyone empty hand. So Thakurji also, she gave to Thakurji as well what he wants. So he begged, he stole, and he begged, borrowed as well. Not for a long time, only for 48 years. Radharani gave her bhav to Krishna because he wants to relish. But you can't become black. You can't be black when you have to relish my moods. For to relish my moods, you have to become Gora, golden. Okay, for 48 years he took loan, mortgage. You have to give interest in between. And third, what he did, Krishna. Okay, one more thing here. If we borrow loan from someone, so monthly we have to give EMI or interest. But here he took loan as well, Krishna, and he is not able to give interest. So he's increasing his interest. He folded his hands and he said, I can't repay you, Radharani. What else can I do? Your love is so high, my love is so less, but I want to repay you. So what I'm begging from you. Give me give me some more so that I can repay you. Our Ramakant Prabhu, who is here with us, if I take a loan from him, you give me loan, please. 10,000 euros loan. He will say, okay, take it, give me later on, repay me later. And then if I come to his house and I say, can you give me 500 rupees, 500 euros more? Why? Because I want to repay you. How does it make sense? Taking money from you to repay your loan. What is this? Again, taking money and just to repay the money which I took initially. Similarly, here, Krishna, he saw Radharani's prem and he folded his hands. Radharani, I cannot repay you, but I want to. By begging, borrowing, and stealing. So Krishna is always indebted to Radharani. He can never repay her because it's not an ordinary. He's not able to repay Radharani, and he likes to be indebted. He, so Mahaprabhu is inside Radharani. Okay, Radharani embraced Krishna, and oh my Sham Sundar, when when you will chant your names, then you will not be able to tolerate, but you will cry and you will laugh and you will go mad. And on top of that, you will dance and roll on the ground. You will fall on the ground while dancing, but you will get hurt. That hurt should not come to you. That pain should not come to you. It should come to me. So Radharani embraced Krishna. So when Mahaprabhu falls on the ground on Jagannath in Jagannath Puri in front of Jagannath Rath Yatra, Krishna, 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 and Jagannath, Mahaprabhu doesn't say Jagannath completely. He just says J, 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 J. His voice gets choked. Mahaprabhu's. He just says Jaga, Jaga, Jaga. Mahaprabhu. And when he falls on the ground, who tolerates it? Radharani. Radharani does this. Sham Sundar should not get any suffering. He should not get any pain. This is such a high kind of love. So high. This is Mahaprabhu. And Radha Raman on the other side. I was telling this yesterday in the Harikatha. Radha Raman is who? Inside Radha, outside Krishna. When Krishna hides Radharani in his heart, who all have seen Radha Raman? Raise your hand, Maharaj is saying. Those who have not seen, please go. Delhi, Faridabad devotees, Noida, they only go to Banke Bihari Ji. And they take darshan of Banke Bihari Ji, they drink some lassi, and they have no other connection. If you don't take darshan of Radha Raman Ji, everything is incomplete. This is that Thakur Ji, this is that Sarup of Thakur Ji, where Sri Krishna is not able to, where Krishna embraced Radharani in his heart, inside him. Okay, so Krishna left all the gopis and he took Radharani and he hid him in his heart. In Geet Govind, Jaydev Goswami expressed this. This she's my Aradhya. Krishna says this. Krishna says Radharani is my Aradhya. I worship her. That's why Radharani's name is Radha, Aradhya of Krishna. Radha. Radharani doesn't. She doesn't do Aradhya of Krishna. People will say this in Vrindavan. Oh, Radharani did lots of Aradhana of Krishna. That's why she became Radha. No, Krishna did Aradhana of Radharani. Radhana means worship. Radha Adam Hridayam. He accepted Radharani. He kept Radharani in his heart. And then that Surupa of Krishna becomes Radha Raman. That Radharani is in his heart. And Mahaprabhu's Sarup, Krishna is in his heart. This tradition of keeping someone special in your heart is very special and unique and very nice. Okay, so Maharaj is showing the picture of Radha Raman. Bolo Shri Radha Raman ki jai. Ramana Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Maharaj is showing on his screen, you all can see. Bol Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. Okay, so Maharaj is bringing it on Zoom. All Thakurjis smile, but look at him carefully. You can see his teeth. I don't know if it's here visible. Maharaj is zooming it a lot. When Radharaman smiles, you can see his two front teeth. It's not clear in this photo actually. You need binocular lenses to see his teeth actually. The front two teeth of Radharaman become visible. If you see other Thakurjis, they don't smile. They smile, but their teeth are not visible. Radharaman's two teeth are visible. Means he smiles more. And why? Why he smiles? Radha, because Radharani is inside him, inside his heart, Radharaman's heart. You all got such a beautiful darshan of Radharani. So if you go to Vrindavan and don't see Radharani, then your darshan is incomplete. And when you go to Vrindavan, if you see darshan of, if you take darshan of Saptam Devale, then your entire darshan is complete. The original 7 temples of our sampradaya: Madan Mohan ji, Govind ji, Gopinath ji, Radharaman, Radha Gokulanand, Radha Sham Sundar, and Radha Damodar. Saptam Devale, very easily you can take their darshan. These 7 temples are more ancient than even Banke Bihari. I'm not saying don't take darshan of Banke Bihari too, but if you don't go to these 7 temples, then your darshan of Vrindavan is incomplete. It's not complete darshan of Bolo Shri Radharaman Lal ki jai. All praise to Shri Radharaman ji. And Radharaman, his pastime is his leela is very beautiful. When special day comes, then we will understand it properly. Gopal Bhatt Goswami's Sevit Shri Vigrah, he manifested in January. His tithi will come. Gopal Bhatt Goswami's, I think. On that day, we will speak about Radharaman ji. How Radharaman manifested, how he appeared. So gopis are saying, Krishna's nectarian lips are our wealth. And look at this bamboo stick, just a small piece of bamboo stick, which is just having no nectar. It's just taking our wealth away from us. What great austerities this bamboo stick has done. Let us know. We will do that austerity. If we get to know what austerities this bamboo stick has done, we will do it. And this bamboo stick is not leaving anything for us. It's just drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips. And then gopis are saying, this Venu is very lucky. The fortune of this Venu is so great that all these rivers, Yamuna ji, or all the ponds, and topmost Sarovar is Mansi Ganga. The Mansi Ganga which manifested from Krishna's mind. There is one Ganga in Haridwar where we will go that appeared from Krishna's lotus feet. And in Govardhan, the Mansi Ganga which is at Govardhan, that appeared from Krishna's mind. So which is superior? Which is superior? The one which appeared from Krishna's mind. That's superior. That's prime. And from the one which manifested from his uh, lotus feet, that actually did not come from Krishna's feet. It came from Vaman Bhagwan's lotus feet. Who is Vaman Bhagwan? He's Krishna's Ansh. So you can imagine, you can understand whose significance is more. So the Ganga ji in Haridwar, at the banks of Ganga ji at Haridwar, when you take a short bath there, and when you sing the glories of Ganga ji, and with good sentiments and mood, when you pray there to Ganga Devi, Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange Tribhuvan Pavan Vipula Tarange. Shankaracharya composed this song of Devi Gange. She is Sakshat Bhagavad Surup. She is the Surup of Bhagwan, Bhagavati Gange, Tribhuvan Pavan. She can deliver the entire Tribhuvan universe. She can purify. That's why there's a huge significance of Ganga Devi. But Mansi Ganga, she appeared from Krishna's mind. And where Krishna with his gopis, he performs boat pastime with his gopis on the water of Mansi Ganga. He performs Jal Keli, water splashing pastime. Water splashing pastime. They put water on each other. So Mansi Ganga's fortune is so high. She is superior. Her significance is more than the other Ganga. So this Venu, this Mansi Ganga and other rivers and other ponds, they all have lotus flowers. Lotus flowers, that means they are enthusiastic, or they are feeling, uh, oh, it's like excitement. When we get excitement, we get goosebumps on us, on our arms. And on Guru Ashtakam, we sing this, right? Which verse is that? From Guru Ashtakam? Mahaprabhu Kirtan Vadit Madha Manaswara Sena Romanch Kampa Sutrangya Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Romanch. Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. So when during Mahaprabhu's Kirtan, during his Sankirtan, that bliss which we feel, Krishna Anandaya Dhimahi, Krishna's Anand, one who gets completely absorbed in Krishna's Anand, they get romanch in Krishna's Kirtan, Mahaprabhu's Kirtan, they get tears from their eyes. But in these rivers, the lotuses which are there, they are the romanch, that same romanch which one gets in Mahaprabhu's Kirtan. So these rivers also getting that romanch. So this Venu here is so significant. Venu here is not feminine, it's masculine. It's a male personification. This Venu flute is so near us, tasteless, but it does such great big things. Even in the rivers, it got them romance, excitement, enthusiasm. Okay. So gopis are saying here that if in a family one child becomes a devotee, then all his previous ancestors they become very happy. One child in one family, if becomes a devotee, then all the ancestors in their pitrlok they raise both the hands and they bless that family. Today, one person in our family has become a devotee of Krishna. The person who chants Harinam, the person who chants Gopal mantra, the person who worships Krishna, offers bhoga to Thakurji, performs his parikrama, circumambulation, and speaks to Thakurji, reads Gita and Bhagavatam. One devotee in our family, oh, he has delivered our community, our family. All the ancestors they get delivered. Like Prahlad Maharaj, in his case, Shri Narasimha Bhagwan, what he said, oh, hey Prahlad, in family, if one gets a son like you, his 21 fathers can be delivered. Specifically father, it's mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Bharati Goswami used to say this point. So this means no mother will not get delivered. No, included in that. By saying father means the entire family is covered. So 21 parents, previous births, from previous births, in a family where a son like Prahlad is appeared, Uttam Bhakt, a great pure devotee. And what about Madhyam, one level down. So 14 generations. And Kanishth Adhikari, for Kanishth Adhikari, 7 generations. 7 previous parents, which can't be done by any other method. No much how much austerities you do, how much fire sacrifices you do, how much part you do, how much you feed the brahmanas, or how much you take bath in Ganga, is not going to happen. Only by doing Krishna Bhakti, by chanting Mahamantra, by serving Thakurji, all the previous ancestors get delivered. And even the earth, Mother Earth feels light, weight. Oh, some weight is gone from me. Like Kans was heavy on earth. She could feel the weight of his sins. So when devotees walk on earth, earth feels happy. She is our mother. She is Bhu Shakti of Krishna, Bhu energy of Krishna. So she feels happy when a devotee, pure devotee walks on earth. And in the sky, all directions, all demigods. And especially that family. Oh, he took birth in my family. He's my child. Like we say, how? Oh, in my family. He's in my community. So that community or that family gets delivered. So sometimes people ask, "Oh, you are just a child right now. You are not serving your parents, and you serve your Gurudev. You are serving Krishna. You are serving Bhagwan, but you are not serving your parents, and you are running behind your Gurudev. You are running away from your responsibilities. This is not right. First, you should serve your parents. This is right. There's nothing wrong in that. This is a common question in our society, which everyone says in all societies. Oh, you should only serve your parents. You left your parents and you're just serving your Gurudev. Who will look after your parents? So let's understand here one thing properly. How many parents can we serve? Our immediate parents. What about our parents, previous parents? Maybe they are living, our grandparents, but we have least interest. Okay, what about uh, ancient generation, which we have not even seen, our great 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 grandfathers? But just by becoming one Krishna Bhakta, I am not saying these are the words of Nrsimha Bhagwan. How can I deny the words of Nrsimha Bhagwan? Nrsimha Bhagwan is saying, Prahlad, in a family where one devotee takes birth, I take the guarantee. I promise that I will deliver all his parents because you have become a devotee. This is such a big service towards the parents, because by becoming a Krishna devotee, you deliver all your previous parents. If our parents die, how can we serve them? How can we still serve them? Because we don't know where they will take birth again. But that child, if is doing Krishna bhakti, then that parent, wherever they are, again taking birth in any universe, that child's credit will go to his parents. It will continuing will go to the parents. This is such a nice service towards the parents. And people say they left the service of parents. No, they have actually held the service of their parents. And not just one, but seven generations of parents will be delivered. So Prahlad's son, Bhavan cries in front of Prahlad Maharaj, "Oh Prahlad, you have so much bhakti for me." Bhavan becomes so emotional. But his own son couldn't become a devotee. Who is the son of Prahlad Maharaj? Virochan, a demon. He was not a devotee. But the grandchild of Prahlad Maharaj, grandson, Bali Maharaj. Grandchild in Hindi is called Pota actually. So Bali Maharaj is a pure devotee of Vaman Bhagwan. And when Vaman Bhagwan, when he got the mercy of Vaman Bhagwan, Prahlad Maharaj became very happy. Oh Bali, I'm very happy. In my family, I have got a child like you, a grandchild like you. And you got such a blessings which even I didn't get. What blessings? Vaman Bhagwan kept his lotus feet upon your head. On my head, he never kept. Narsim Bhavan only kept his lotus hand on me. But Bali, you got his lotus feet, Vaman Bhagwan's lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj started dancing. So just like this in Pitra Lok, they start dancing when they see that in a family there is a one pure devotee, and they do announcement actually. Oh, you saw that person's daughter became a devotee, that person's son became a devotee. Oh, now they don't eat onion garlic, they have become Hare Krishna. So indirectly, oh yeah, they are just Hare Krishna people. They don't eat anything, they don't eat non-veg, they don't drink alcohol, they are Hare Krishna people. So everyone acknowledges us in society, in neighbor. So indirectly, they all say Hare Krishna. Means even they are getting Sukriti. Just by one person, if one person becomes a devotee, people around you, your relatives, they will also get sukritis. This is just a small act. So what will happen in Pitralok or Devlok when this information would reach there? Even they all start jumping. So that's why gopis are saying, all these trees which we are seeing in the forest, see how they are crying, because the trees get sap. Sap means glue, gond. Have you seen ever sap, how it comes from trees? Not sap. Sap means snake, and sap means the gel from the trees. Gopis, when they see the sap from the trees, they say it's this the tears of the trees, because trees are now very happy because this bamboo stick has come from the tree. From where this bamboo stick came? It came from the trees. Today in our family is delivered because one piece of our family, this Venu, this flute, has got residence in on Krishna's lips. It gets the nectar from Krishna's lips. So gopis are, so the sap which is coming from the trees, and gopis think they are trees, the tears of the trees. Trees are crying. So they are imposing their emotions into others. Gopis are they are actually they are crying. Gopis are crying, but they are seeing trees are crying. Vrindavan's trees are crying. This is the glorification of gopis. They are seeing their emotions in others around them, in these trees. So Srila Bharti Maharaj would say, if you wear a red glasses, you will see the entire world only red. If you wear a green color glass, then everything will be green around you. But it's not green actually. Even the yellow becomes green because of the green glasses. So whatever emotions, sentiments, moods you have in your eyes, Prem Anjan Charitam Bhaktam Bilochaneha. The strong condensed love of Bhagwan. Okay, that saint sees that everyone is doing love. They all doing bhajan, they all doing bhakti, because that saint, that sadhu, he's himself doing bhajan. When we were small, we used to wear 3D glasses, and we would see, then a person would come so close when you wear a 3D glass. So sadhu sant, they give the glasses of prem, love, and they think, they feel that everyone, the entire universe is worshipping Krishna. So they have no jealousy from anyone, with anyone. But a demon, he has the glasses of enviousness. He thinks everyone is envious. Someone wears the glass of lust. I have lust inside me, and I'm wearing a glass of lust. So I feel everyone is lusty because the fault is in the glass which we are wearing. Oh, everyone is lusty. Everyone is full of desires because you wore such glasses. You take out those glasses and you wear the glasses of love. You will feel everyone is loving Krishna. No one has any lust. That's why our Gurudev would say, he used to say, by doing sadhana, by hearing Harikatha, by chanting, the world will not change. The vision to see this world will change. Your vision to see this world will change. Your perception would change. Your perception to visualize this world, that would change. This world won't change. The world will still remain the same. There will be good people, bad people, lusty people, angry people, greedy people, they all will be here. Like there was one Babaji around 200 years back. He used to live in Mayapur. His name was Vamshi Vadan, Vamshi Das Babaji Maharaj. He had long hair and he was from a good family. He was learned, but he would make his long dreadlocks and big beard, long beard, and he would only wear a kopin, no clothes on him, and he would have one chillam hookah like this. Vamshi. He won't smoke it. He won't smoke it, but he would just hold it like this. Vamshi Das Babaji Maharaj. And his bhajan kutir, outside his bhajan kutir, he would throw fish bones, the bones of the fish. Why? No one should come and disturb me. People used to say he is just duplicitous. He smokes chillam, hookah, he takes drugs, he eats fish. What kind of sadhu is he? He does it. He would do it intentionally, on purpose, because he was a pure devotee. And pure devotees, when you go near them, people want to fulfill their desires, fulfill this desire of mine. Give me this, give me that. So this is a disturbance for pure devotees, for great personalities. So they do such activities that people don't come near them. Then they won't go to them and disturb them. So Vamshidas Davaji Maharaj, he would externally he would look like a mad person, but internally, all every time he was absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. And small boys from the villages would come, would throw stones at him and say he's mad. They would throw pebbles. And Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj would say, wait, wait. Today I will complain to Yashoda Maiya about you all. Mother, your Krishna and his sakhas disturb me a lot. Today I will complain to Yashoda Maiya. What is the vision of Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj? Which eyeglass he's wearing? Okay, he's always absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. So these boys of village, nearby village, Krishna, he's seeing them as Krishna and his friends, his sakhas, and they disturb me a lot. So today I'll complain to Yashoda Maiya. This is his vision. This is how he's seeing them. His vision is that they are Krishna and his cowherd boys. He's not seeing them as just village boys. In Mathura, Gurudev used to tell us one katha. It just came to my mind. There was once upon a time a sadhu in his bhajan kutir, and there would also be a prostitute near his bhajan kutir. And you know what is the profession of a prostitute? Today this customer, then another customer, then another customer. So, but this saint, the sadhu, day and night, he would always think she's so dirty, she's such a bad woman, she could have done some other job. Why she's selling her body? Why she's selling her body? So he would criticize her all day. And that prostitute, she would always think that this sadhu has got up, now he's chanting, now he's doing kirtan, now he has gotten up, now he's doing harikatha. See, people are touching his feet, people are getting his charnamrit. She would always meditate on that sadhu's activities, sadhu. And sadhu would always meditate on that prostitute's activities. So whose meditation is great? Gurudev would raise this question. Even though their jobs are different, the saint is pure, and 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 prostitute's profession is not pure. But what are the glasses they are wearing? Where is their meditation? The saint is wearing the glass of prostitute, and the prostitute is wearing the glass of a sadhu, the saint. Yam yam vapi samar kalam tachate kalevaram. At the time of that, whatever you think, you become that. You test that prostitute. All day she was meditating on the sadhu. So when she leaves her body, she'll become what? She'll become a sadhu, she'll become a saint. And the saint who's always meditating on prostitution, he will become a prostitute. Now there are details in this, but Gurudev would give this specific point. He would raise this point. Whatever we are, we think the entire world is like that. If I have uh, duplicity inside me, then I will think everyone is duplicit around me. Even a small child is duplicit. But if I'm simple, very simple hearted, very sincere, then I would not see a other person's duplicity as duplicity. I would still feel, no, he's very simple. Oh, he's right. So what lesson do we get from here? Don't try to judge others. Focus on yourself first. Prabhupada ji would say, improve yourself, work upon yourself. Others will improve your inside vision, and then your entire perception would improve. If you criticize others, if you judge others, so Gurudev would laugh and say, once upon a time there was some fight. Okay, fight between a stainer and a needle. Stainer. Okay, sieve, and a needle. The fight between a sieve and a needle. The sieve tells to the needle, see, there is a hole behind you. And the needle laughs loudly. The needle is laughing loudly. Sieve is saying, why are you laughing? I'm just laughing at you. You are seeing one hole in me and you have multiple holes. How many holes you have? So I don't need to say anything. I just feel like laughing on your statement. So just like that, inside us there are so many anarthas, so many weaknesses. So first what we have to do, we have to work upon our sadhan. If we fix ourselves, improve ourselves, everything can be fixed. I should first work upon myself. So that is why this is called which glass you are wearing. Gopis are wearing the glass of love. And with that glass of love, they are seeing that everyone is loving Krishna. How a Mahabhagavat sees everyone. Mahabhagavat means a pure devotee. He always sees his Isht in everyone's heart, even in the heart of a dog or a chandal or a prostitute or a human being. He sees his Isht, and in his Isht he sees everyone. 11th Canto Bhagavatam. When a Mahabhagavat sadhu is like this, then what to speak about these gopis? They are so immersed in that love, so absorbed that they don't see anything apart from that love. They see love everywhere, in all directions. Even in the trees, they are seeing that sap and they feel that trees are crying. Why are these trees crying? Out of happiness. Our one piece from our family today is now drinking the nectar from Krishna's lotus lips. Now our family is delivered. All the trees are dancing. They're very happy. Joy, full of joy. This is Venugit. That is why this flute has become Bhagavad Premi. And seeing that a child like flute, Krishna's flute, all these trees are feeling so much happiness. And sometimes you see there is honey coming from trees, and gopis think that honey is Krishna's, sorry, trees crying. Seeing their child, this flute, they think we have become very lucky. The trees of Braj are feeling that we have become very lucky because one of our child has become so a devotee. This Venu Geet is so beautiful. We just feel like hearing it for hours and hours. We will hear it tomorrow now. Hare Krishna.